I think the proper thing to do first is to start with introductions. I'll start with myself. I'm Timmy, and I'm a product designer. I've been in this for, I guess, 7 to 8 years now. I've been doing this for a while anyway. And I've been working in various sectors. Health, I've been in finance for most of my career. Worked in product design in health as well. Did a little bit of stuff in Web3 as well. Done a lot of e-commerce. Also done a lot of software as a service, also some B2B business tools. This is a class for UI. UI, I would explain that once the class starts properly. I'll still get into all that. But this is for everything design. As a UI UX person, you might have some knowledge of maybe UX or some knowledge of UI UX. But what I'm here to do is to teach you guys everything I know, everything that's gotten me at least to this point in my own career. Now, what you guys will learn here is going to be Figma. That is the primary tool. That is the world's most recognized tool for UI UX. But also, you guys will be learning how to use AI to help make your processes a little bit faster. Now, it doesn't mean you're not going to be doing the designs yourself, but it means the thinking part of the work. Back in the days, what we used to have to do was we sit down for hours and days and weeks to come up with ideas of what we want to build or how we want to build it. These days, AI gives you what you would have done in weeks. You can do it pretty much in 5 minutes. AI does that for you. How can you stand out in the workplace? Regardless, even if you are working in the workplace right now, that is what I'm here to show you guys. How I use AI to break down my own processes, but also the design part from knowing zero to get to the advanced point where you can create fluid, responsive designs. And all of these technical, whatever that I've said, don't worry, you guys will understand everything. I like to always start with stories personally, and I like to start with my own personal story. Some people might have doubts, can I do this? People that are already in the industry already said. They mentioned that a lot of them actually love what they do. Funny enough, it doesn't feel like work. And after I was having a conversation with someone yesterday, and they were like, oh, I'm always working. When do I ever have time for anything? I'm like, work is actually fun. For me personally, I don't know about anybody else. I can literally do this all day because it pretty much feels good whenever you do something and then it impacts people in some type of way, or the company as well in some type of way. You build something and then it gets to the point where the company is getting to 100,000 users, 200,000 users. The company is raising revenue, $1 million, $2 million, thousands of dollars in revenue because of the work that you have done. That stuff will push you to want to do more, more, and more, and more. One of the frequently asked questions I've gotten in the past is, most people will think, oh, product design, you have to do some kind of computer science. No, you don't have to. You know how to use a computer, that's all. Secondly, can you do this on your phone? Sadly, you can't. Figma doesn't really work on your phone. XD doesn't really work on your phone. It's not really optimized for those platforms. Another thing again is, do you need to know how to code to do this? Nope. You're not required to know how to code. You don't have to code. I can code because I used to do it before, but it's no indicator on what you have to do. A lot of people that have been product designers that I know personally that I trained never knew how to write one line of code. And funny enough, AI can actually help you write code now. Anyway, show you an example of how that works. And my own journey into product design was a short story. During my own BSc, right, I studied electrical engineering. It was interesting, but I wasn't any good at it. And along the lines of that, I fell in love with video games. There was this game called Medal of Honor. And we used to play those games, like we'll connect laptops to laptops via local area networks, create our own local Wi-Fi. It's not connected to the main internet in any way, but we connect to each other's laptops. And then we play games. It was really interesting. I liked, a lot of that. And I was like, how do I get to do this? And I was always in contact with my computer science guys. They were doing a lot of C Sharp. I didn't know what all that shit meant. Again, I never really paid attention to it. After that, I was like, okay, I want to learn how to build games. Let me go and then do software engineering. I went into software engineering for my master's, and it was a lot of code, but we're not coding anything that looked nice. We're only coding things that worked fine, but did not have to look nice. It was coding, logical coding and algorithms. I was bored, but at least one way or the other, I did not have extra year in this one. I passed at least because it piqued my interest a bit. I was working somewhere at first, and I was kind of like managing the IT team because of my background in software engineering. And this was in 2018. I was earning 15,000 naira per month. That was what it was, 15K a month. That was all I was earning. Most days I would have to work from Allen to Ogba, right? Or Allen to Magodo, because I was crashing at people's places. Understand? And it was, I think I would say, little things like that kind of build character. And funny enough, it was somebody in the office. I didn't like this guy, but this guy was talking about UI UX. Funny enough, it was somebody that I didn't like in the office that actually introduced me to UI UX. I know talking about UI UX, one course. I was like, okay, let me take a risk and learn. And they were like, you learn for 50K. I had to borrow money. Hopefully, I was like, I will be able to, pay this money back. And I took the course, and pretty much before I finished my training, I got my first job. For 50K, I moved up to a company in Ikoyi called NG Careers. They were the biggest competitor against Jobberman back then, right before Jobberman bought them. That was where I started working. And that was kind of like the big shift. I went to the island, and the island was looking nice. Anytime I went by any building, I'll Google the building. I'll check what companies were in that building. I'll try to apply to the companies in that building. Because for me personally, I always see companies that are in very big buildings. I like to work somewhere where, I can be, in one nice office where everything is all fresh. And from there, I got like to another company that was, funny enough, top floor, one of those buildings in BI. And that was 100K. The point is this: your background doesn't really matter. What you knew before does not matter. What you did not know before does not even matter. I'll be teaching everything from scratch because I myself, I've seen it all from not being able to, should I say, understand how the UI thing works, to learning it, to then teaching it. I've been teaching for about 5 years now, since 2020. Again, it's been a while. I feel like you guys will be able to get, and again, I have a lot to share with you guys as well. And it's typically something I do every single year. And my career has carried me out of Nigeria now. Pretty much I moved into the UK in October last year. And I got an offer last week. And pretty much I'm starting at least the highest salary I ever received in my life. It's a testament to think in the sense of how within a few short years, you can start earning something that you did not believe you could actually earn. As long as you push yourself and then you move forward, you can always defeat whatever village people. Trust me, there's no village people that's doing anybody. You understand? There's access to power. There's also one quote I think I loved from a conversation I had with a friend last week. People always say knowledge is power. Everybody says knowledge is power. Yes, knowledge is power. But in the hands of somebody who is not doing anything with that knowledge, it's useless. I want to believe that all of us are kind of like, here to get knowledge, that we can use that knowledge. Trust me, it's not going to be easy at first. Probably your first job will probably be something that pays like 70K, 50K. It might not be a lot, but trust me, if you do that job well enough and you keep putting yourself out there, trust me, you get to the point where you're earning 80,000 pounds, 100,000 pounds, 150,000 pounds annually. Trust me, it happens. I know people in Nigeria. I remember there was a student I taught in 2021. This guy got his first gig through LinkedIn. And this guy was already earning 4,000 pounds. Guess how much I was earning then? I was only earning 100K, and I thought somewhere that started earning 40, like 4,000 pounds. It's funny how it works. Putting yourself out there for opportunities is the way forward. Because the class is free doesn't mean it shouldn't be premium. And funny enough, the way the curriculum is structured is even more comprehensive than typical boot camps that you pay for. Because I've been doing this a lot. I'm like, why not allow everybody to learn everything I want? And at the end of this, the expected result for each and every one is: one, you have a CV that you can use to apply anywhere. I'll drop my CV templates. Two, you're going to create a portfolio, meaning the course of this class, you would design a lot of things. You design so many things that you can put it on your portfolio. I'll show you where you can do your portfolios and all that stuff for free. You're not paying for anything. You can use those resources and you learn how to use them. And strategies to finding jobs. I don't mean jobs in Nigeria, because jobs in Nigeria, they want to see how fancy your design is, which is fine. But jobs out here in the UK, it takes a different, because trust me, in the last month, I've interviewed with Apple, I interviewed with MailChimp, I interviewed with All States, I interviewed with a lot of big companies, pretty much. Very fun interviews. I'll share some of those insights with you guys as well. I'll share those strategies, towards the end of the class. But first, let us learn the practical side of things. I will type in something in the comments, and I would say I want everybody to go to figma.com. That's the first thing we'll do. We're going to sign up. Right? Go to figma.com, and this is what figma.com looks like. Let me open like a private channel to show you guys figma.com. This is going to be the main tool that we use to work. This is going to be the main tool that we learn. This is Figma. And I just want you guys to do to sign up is get started for free. Click on the button. You can click on either of the buttons, this one or this one. I'll give you guys 5 minutes to do that, right? Now, some questions will be asked of you while you are signing up. Remember, you are a student, you are learning design, and also remember that the free plan, you're not paying for Figma, don't worry. We are going to do something where you guys would actually verify your Figma. You verify it for education. You guys will do that. I think that's pretty much, sign up for Figma first, and then we'll move ahead. Sign up is the first part. We're not doing that now. We'll get into that properly later. I want to explain some theoretical concepts to you guys. Now, I'm very sure you guys have heard the word UI. I'm sure you've heard UI, you've heard UX before. We have UI and then we have UX, user interface, user experience. And let me use words as well to type it out so that everybody sees what this is. And again, when you're watching the recordings, at least you're not lost on the audio. Let me go down. I'll say user interface. And the second part of it is user experience. User interface is what you are seeing. You understand? And I like to use analogy that everybody will understand it. I know a lot of you guys have heard these analogies from me a lot of times before. I'll use a guy's perspective to explain this. So, but think of it this way. I see this nice lady. She's looking nice, well dressed, nice shoes, long hair, whatever. Looks nice. That's the user interface. She looks very nice and attractive. I can't help but go and talk to her. That is the user interface. Now, that is a good user interface. Now, this UI and this UX can either be good or bad. A good user interface is something that attracts people naturally. A bad user interface is something that at first, it's kind of like, I don't understand this. I don't think I want to use this. You understand? That's what when we say a bad. Now, that analogy of the lady, let's keep it in our heads. Now, the activity of me now saying, oh, I want to talk to this lady. Then I move, maybe she's like a coffee shop or whatever. Then I go in there and I'm like, oh, hi, I'm this, blah, 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 blah. Me introducing myself is the process of me signing up into the app. Let's think of an app. The app looks nice. Before you use any app, you have to sign up or log in. Now, you are introducing yourself, giving it your information. My name is, my email is, password is, you understand? Think of it as though you introduce yourself to a lady, is like, oh, I'm this, I do this. Now, let's now say this conversation that you have with this lady, maybe she's kind of rude, she's kind of disrespectful. Maybe she says some things that, I know your values. Maybe she has some contrary opinions and some, some views of the world that, you don't support. The thing is, one, the emotion is disappointment because they're like, she looked nice, but not my cup of tea. The disappointment is kind of like typically, oh, it's not really what I expected, but fine. Now, the next thing is obviously, thank you for the conversation, and then you walk away from there. And you probably don't want to have a conversation with this person again, right? And that's how it is. The second part of saying it's good is have the conversation, everything is right. She's probably the same UI UX design field that you are in. She's talking about things that she's done. Her values align with yours. She loves family. You also love family, right? You're impressed. You're relieved a little bit that, oh, wow, finally, thanks. Thank God, things went fine. Now, the next instinct after that is, can I have your number so that we can keep in touch? Think of it this way. Any app can look fine. I want you guys to always, note that. Because an app looks fine doesn't mean it would work great for the users. Always remember that. Because your app looks nice does not mean it will work perfectly to your own needs. And the funny thing again is because your friend loves using a particular app does not mean you also love using that app. UX is very, very subjective. UI is very subjective. Saying, I enjoyed that conversation and I want to keep coming back and back and back to use this app or to talk to this person is when we say that's when you've captured a recurring user or a recurring customer. You understand? Now, the aim is for the UI to be good, but also the idea behind the UX of it to actually be great. Now, this class is focused on the UI side of things. But don't worry, anything UX that affects UI, I'll always talk about it. I would mention it and I'll give you guys techniques on what you can apply to have better ideas on making sure that your UI is meeting great UX standards. We'll talk about every single standard, you understand? That's what I want you guys to know. And that analogy is to explain it to you guys. Now, let me explain something about what product design is. Product design is the same thing as UI, UX design, you understand? But when we say product design, a product designer is doing a lot of things. He's doing a lot more than focusing on only UI or focusing on only UX. And the funny thing about this again is, right, this product design, should I say career landscape, actually focuses into different places. You can actually have sub roles in there. We have someone we call the UX designer. We have people called the UX designers. We have our UI designers as well. We have a UX researcher. Now, given not every company separates them, some companies have them be one person. We have the UI designer, we have the researcher, and also we have the UX writer. Someone we call the UX unicorn. This unicorn is like a legend. The reason why they call them, unicorns, because they're like legends. Like there's, they know a lot, but also everything all of these guys do, the UX unicorn does. But in addition, this guy now writes code as well. You understand? But let me explain. UX designers will only focus on function over form. And I will explain that in a bit. And a UI designer will focus more on form over function. Now, to explain this, function means something that works perfectly. But again, before I talk about that, I want to make a little bit of maybe clarity. Design is not art. Design is to solve a problem. Think about it. For those of you guys who are probably sitting down right now on a chair, your chair has 4 legs for a reason, so that it can be stable. It has a flat base so that you can sit on it for a reason. It solves the problem, at least I can sit down. Now, wooden chairs might not be optimized for sitting down for long because then your butt starts hurting. Couches solve that problem of your butt hurting, or foam is kind of soft, you can sit for a longer time. That's why I always say, when it comes to design and all of these guys, I would always say it's form meets function. Form means the way it looks. Form meeting function. That is design. It's about how functional it is. You understand? Art is about function. Art is about, it meets some type of aesthetics or expression or emotions. There are a lot of words we can use, right? To pretty much, say art pretty much falls under that. Design is about solving problems. It's not about, we want to design because we want an app. You understand? The app will have to do something for people to use it. You understand? At the end of the day, if you are designing anything that doesn't have some type of research behind it, some type of information behind it, it's useless to the people. It's definitely going to be useless to the people. Art is more, I'm painting something that people can love the way this stuff looks. It looks beautiful, And then, I'm sure you guys have seen movies, all of these, fancy movies, French movies, where they'll be like in a museum and everybody's, this one looks like my grandmother from 1950. This one is inspiring me to fly or something. You understand? It inspires you to do something or to have an idea. Art is generally non-contemporary like that, very abstract. That is what art really is. Design, it's solving a problem. Your car solves a problem. Your car was designed in a specific way to solve a problem. Earlier cars had a few number of cylinders, for those who understand cars anyway. A few number of cylinders could only go like a couple of speeds, maybe 1 or 2 kilometers per hour. Bicycles solve a problem as well. I can go from point A to point B without getting stuck in traffic. I can move easily with my leg power. You understand? That is what bicycles are. That's what they do. The new modern cars are designed to go farther distances faster. You think of a Bugatti, you think of a Lamborghini, you think of a Ferrari. Those cars, yes, they are fancy, it's luxury. There's a lot of other things on top of it, but the main core of it is the design of it. Yes, the luxury is like an added advantage and all of that, but these cars are fast. They are faster than your typical Toyota Camrys or your Venzas or your Mercedes Benz for a reason. If I need to get from Lagos to Abuja in a few hours, even though we have bad roads, at least I know with a Bugatti, I'll probably get there faster. I'll probably have a fucked up car by the time I end up. Everything is form meeting function. Your car itself, in the engine compartment, there's a place where they put water. There's a place where they put coolant. There's a place where they put gas for your AC. You understand? There's everything is designed. When we talk about product design, when we talk about UI design, we are talking about digital side of things. I'm not talking about the physical aspect. Whenever you talk about physical aspect, then we are going into industrial product design. But for this, we are talking about our digital, products. When we say digital products, I want you guys to think apps, websites, operating systems like your iOS itself. And no, I don't mean like the apps on your phone. I mean what you are seeing before you actually tap. Every time you swipe up or is unlocking your Face ID, your fingerprint to unlock your Android, that operating system is also a software. Your PlayStation or your modern smart TVs, where you can see all of these Netflix, Prime, all of those things listed, are using your remote control to control left and right and move left and right, up, down. All of those things are digital products. Designers like you and I actually designed those things as well. All of these things are, what we are trying to learn in this class, how to execute the perfect design. Now, I would open an example of an app to show you guys what you guys would be aspiring to design. Okay, no, this is a design system. I don't think this is not the class for design systems. Let me open the dark mode of something I worked on recently. And let's wait for this to launch. You guys will learn how to execute everything I'm about to show you guys. The type of animations that will be able to be done within these screens, getting images, getting icons, using colors to balance out a design. Understanding something called WCAG. It's very, very important for you to know what a WCAG is. It's one of the most important things. In interviews, you'll be able to talk about those things. Whenever you hear the word accessibility, you should know what it means. Whenever you hear the word contrast, you should know what it means. Whenever I hear words like conversion, you should know what it means. But I'm not talking about conversions in Naira or whatever. But let me zoom in to show you guys an example. Now, I think Toby used to work with me. Toby is also a very brilliant designer as well. And he has worked on this file back in the days. Typically, your UI, you end up having 300, 400, 500 pages in the design. Now, that is not to say that you are going to be designing everything at once. You can see there are a lot of parts of this that, are not even, the reason why these things are in red as well is because this is the way I structure my own designs, that my developers know exactly where to go when they need something. Let's zoom into this a little bit. I'll show you guys an example of a real app. This app is actually in the app stores. It's not my app, it's not my company, but it's my boss's company, and I work for them for 4 years. What they do is pretty much, you want to pay school fees, pay whatever. That's what the app does. You can easily, within 24 hours, your tuition fees is paid. You need to send money back home to Nigeria within 24 hours at very fair exchange rates. You can send that money back home as well. That's pretty much what the app does. And also there are virtual cards for those of you guys in Nigeria as well, and very reliable virtual cards as well. Anyway, that's the end of that segment of advertising. But let's look at the design of the app itself. This is the homepage of the app, but let me start from the top. Let's go into, sorry, my laptop is hanging a bit. Okay, all right. Let me start from here. You will design every screen from the top. I'll teach you guys how to get animations that actually work like this. You guys will get animations. See how simple this is. Design must always be simple. Design should always be simple. It's a must. There's a reason why your Instagram is so simple, why TikTok is so simple, why WhatsApp is simple as well. They're not cluttering a lot of things in your face. You understand? It's simple. Also, we'll be gauging quality of the work that you are doing. By the time you submit the first assignment, you submit a second assignment, a third assignment, you'll be seeing improvements. When I say, don't use that type of color, don't use this, don't use that, you would learn over time. right? Now, watch this. If I click on this button, it goes next. It's not witchcraft, it's not wizardry. It's what this software does. And this is not even coded. This is design. This is the level of what I want you guys to be able to do, is to execute this level of cleanliness. You understand? That is kind of like the point of this. And that's why we are going to be focusing on UI. Most times, most classes want to focus UX and UI. And it kind of leaves gap in some of the advanced things that you should know when it comes to UI. That's why this class itself is mainly the design part. But as you are designing, there are a lot of UX things to consider, which I'll be mentioning as we are doing them. And I'll be explaining them as well to you guys. A question here is now that why is it that, yeah, everything else is saying skip, but at this point, I'm saying check FX rate, right? What could be, like, what could have been something that happened that actually made it in a way that we decided to have FX rate somewhere in here? Anybody guess? Guess. I want you guys to have ideas. I want to encourage ideas here. Anybody? Why are we saying check FX rate? You've not even signed up yet.
Probably you're trying to understand your audience, their what they intended to do on the website, on the app quickly.
Okay, that's good. Who else would like to try?
They don't have to leave the app to check maybe on Google or something.
Good. I like that. That was actually an idea. Who else to encourage them that the FX rate?
To encourage them that the rate, your whole rate is yeah.
Good. Now, yes.
And
But yeah, let me sorry.
I wanted to say something.
Yeah, go ahead.
Also, I can have an idea of what the current rate is of what the app is offering.
All valid ideas, power of the reason. But let me tell you guys the story of this. This one button, the story why this one button came here, it was a series of things that happened. We had the app, we never had this before. But then we'd notice people wouldn't use the app as much. Or people would be asking customer support, what is the exchange rate today? What is the exchange rate today? And it was overwhelming that team. They told us we need to find a solution to make sure that they know what the exchange rate is. And then we designed the exchange rate, but it was not here as well. We designed it after they've gotten into the app. Then we realized people were signing up, but they were not making transactions. And this is the UX part. That is the beauty of it. It is and this is what we call the Agile methodology. What Agile means is we build in Lego bricks. We're allowed to make mistakes as designers. That is the Agile method. We make mistakes. We see that users don't like something we did. We'll try something else. That is the job. That is the job, to be experts at being wrong. That is our job until we find the right answers. That simple thing. We moved, it was in the app, people were signing up, but they're not making transactions. What did we have to do? We started thinking, okay, instead of having useless accounts that people will sign up and then not do anything with, why not have it in a way that you can check the exchange rates from the beginning? You don't even have to sign up. If you don't like it, delete the app. You don't even have to sign up. You don't even want your email. Because the point is, every business wants something that counts towards the business metrics. And whenever I say metrics, I mean numbers. Every business's aim is to make money. If you are going to be signing up and not using the app, it's better for us to know as you get to the point where you're signing up at all. And that was AKA, we had the exchange rates, which works, right? By the way, can easily see the rates. You can enter an amount. Let's say you want to send, how much do you have in your account? And then you can see, oh, I want to send $300. When you enter that, it will show you the equivalent. And then you know whether you are fine with it or you want to delete the app and then you're okay with, keeping your money. I'll go and send it through GT Bank from A. That might take 1 month or 2 months to send to abroad. And that was the basic idea of that one button. You can see a series of things that we've tried along the way, but led to one simple decision that brought this here and it kind of solved the problem. Because we ended up not having useless people coming, and almost anybody that came into the app actually made a transaction. We knew if you are coming in, if you end up signing up truly, you are definitely going to make a transaction. At least 70% chance that you make a transaction within the first 24 hours. Now, beyond all of this, you also designed everything that has to do with signing up into an app. Oh, tell us your name, your last name. If you already have an account, click on login. And it will still take you to like a login page. But what if I mistakenly came here? I need to be able to go back to the sign up page. And then you always provide a link. Again, one of those rules is you want people to be able to navigate 360. If I'm able to enter a page, I should be able to go back to the previous page I came from. That is one of the rules as well that you should always note. Like a back button will do that, but also links like this as well will allow you to be able to give people chances to find options to go back to a previous page or to have a shortcut to go to an important page that might be important to most users. You get? And the reason why, again, another reason why something like this as well is usually important is, let's say I change my phone. If I install the app for the first time, I'm not signing up, obviously. Therefore, this is a very useful one. I need to go in, enter my email password, and then log in. That's redundancy of making sure anywhere they need to go, they easily can go in there. It's already designed. You are designing it in a way that you want people to follow a process and to be understanding everything that they are doing. This text is pretty much there to tell you, please provide us your name as shown on your government ID. Not your nickname, not like, oh, my name is Yakpayaski. No, we don't want that. The point is your government ID, because this is finance. Finance doesn't play with compliance. There's something called compliance in every industry. They have their own set of rules that the government enforces. When it comes to financial things, we all know fraud is a very big possibility. Therefore, whoever is committing that fraud, at least we can confirm your government's name from the beginning. You understand? To be able to find you when fraud occurs on your account or anything like that. All of these things are done deliberately. Now you've given us your name. Let's say the name is Paul. We now start referring to you as Paul. Now, can anybody guess why did we decide to implement using people's name to refer to them after they've given us their name? What do you think could be a reason behind that? Anybody?
To give
Personalization.
sense of
Thank you very much. That personalization is it. You want people to feel like, I feel welcome. Like first time I got here, the first app I got was like this banking app, Revolut. And I was using it. I loved it. It was easy. It was very fancy. Was referring to me by my name. Was sending me emails. I liked it. I felt like, I was part of their team as well. That is why you do things like the personalize it. Don't let it be, oh, now give us your email. Now give us your this. You understand? At least add a level of human-computer interaction. When we're talking about, somebody mentioned HCI. HCI means human-computer interaction. I will not be talking to somebody and then they're always referring to me as user, or guy. Understand? Even though a lot of us might not know each other's names. I'm very sure some of us have that habit. You know somebody for like almost a year and you don't even know this guy's name, but every time it's guy. It's kind of like a standard thing, you understand? But what if I can refer to Paul, Shegun, you understand? Femi, Tayo, Toby, understand? If I can refer to you by your name, it feels more personal. It makes you feel closer to that person. You understand? That's kind of like the point of these things. It's human-computer interaction. Human-computer interaction is us making an effort to ensure that things that exist in the real physical world also applies in a digital context. And what I mean by that is, if you are used to people calling you by your name, our app should also be able to call you by your name to let you feel welcome, let you feel like you own this app. This is my app. It's not the app for everybody, but this is my app. It brings that level of exclusivity. And that's the point of that. You can see everything, even the copy, the way things are going, the way things are working, everything has been designed to do specific things. There are so many layers of UX that has gone into this. And trust me, you guys can learn every single thing. It's not that hard. And if I'm saying it's not that hard, coming from somebody like me, then trust me, it's actually not that hard. You understand? Now, you guys notice when you were signing up for Figma, they were asking you, oh, what would you like to do first? We did the same thing. It's not like this doesn't change anything within the app. But let me explain one deeper concept to you guys that you guys might not know. Those kind of questions that they ask you guys in, those type of apps. I'm sure you guys have had other apps that ask you questions like that as well. Those types of questions that they ask you, it's not because they want to change. What they are doing is they want to know how to market to you. This is for marketing purposes. Whenever we have like a discount in maybe tuition fees, maybe we want to make sure maybe we are doing tuition fee payments in under 1 hour. We will send only people that actually tick this box. We send them emails. How do I put that I just wanted to do student loans? Because, student loans doesn't concern me that I want to pay school fees now. Therefore, I don't need to get those emails. But those who are interested in student loans, once they tick that box, and this, you can actually tick multiples. You can get multiple types of marketing directions. This helps the business more because the business is able to win over more customers this way. But on the other hand as well, the business is also going to be able to understand their users a little bit more. Oh, of 10,000 people that signed up this week, 5,000 of them chose that they're interested in student loans. Now, we in our own business and marketing strategy can then think properly. How can we ensure that we advertise these student loans more online? Should we be doing social media posts? Should we be sending more emails? All of those kind of things. This is a very strategic thing. It is more for the business than for you. The business will want to understand you, yes. And you also will feel like, oh, wow, they like me. Oh, they want to know what I want to do. Go well, and then you select everything. But for us, you've given us data. You understand? We have the foundation to be able to target you. And one thing I've noticed as well in my own, I think since I got to the UK here is they know how to target you perfectly. The other day I was watching TV and I think somebody was talking about Domino's Pizza. It came up on my TV and I was like, okay. And I started craving pizza and the next day I bought pizza in the morning. That is what businesses do. We need to find leverage, find ways to get you to do things. We'll find a way to convince you, come and buy now, you understand? That is our job as UI UX product designers. That is our job. Understand? What I will be teaching you guys is some of the deeper theories behind them, but you will be doing all of the physical things of the design. How do I make these boxes? Where do I get these icons that we have here? What are the best fonts to use? What is the concept of me combining this color? And how does this blue also complement it? But also, why am I using this shade of blue? You understand? Why am I using these colors? Everything has a purpose. There are theories behind them, but this class is not very theoretical. This class is very practical. But as the practical part is going on, the theories will be explained heavily because I want you guys to know everything. You guys will be learning some of the complex parts of being able to do things like components. And let me go into this page to show you guys. We'll be doing components where we'll be able to swipe within stuff. We're able to swipe and see different things. Again, I'll teach you something as well where you'll be able to actually create an animation yourself. Not even using stock animation, but you creating your own animation that you can use in a design. Those are the conceptual things. Now, back in the days, most people would use, I want to design a page. We'll use frames, we'll use shapes. The world has moved. Figma has gotten a little bit advanced. I'll not be teaching you guys with the old techniques. You guys will be learning the modern techniques of using auto layouts. How do we make a design very scalable in a way that if I want to make quick changes, I can make those changes? Watch. Let me give you an example of making a quick change. If I come on this page and I say, I want to add, apart from having this 4, I want to reduce it to maybe 3. I can hide this one and automatically the height of this adjusts automatically. That is what we call auto layouts. You guys will learn structuring things with auto layouts, F patterns, Z patterns, adding new things. Whenever marketing comes and say, we don't want to do this anymore, I can come hide it. Or they say they want to add a new thing. I'll come in here, I'll press Ctrl D duplicate, it will extend it. I'll extend a little bit more. And then it has accepted that. And I'll change the text here. And I'm done. Rather than me having to create everything again and then add it inside and shift one thing to the left or to the right, it becomes easy. Modern techniques is what you guys will learn in this class. This class is about how to do all of these things and making sure you know where to find icons, what icons to use, how to create colors, and how to set a standard. This is something we call local styles, right? Every text style has been set here. The standard size 12. For all headers, everything has been set here as well. For all subtitles is set. There are standards that are set. You will learn the basic concepts of why we set these standards, and you will learn how to do all of these things as well, right? Even for every button, the buttons themselves, the standards are already set in here. I don't have to guess what size of text we use for buttons. I'll select and I'll use that standard, and I to add it in there. Understand? That is you designing for scalability and for growth. You understand? Color styles as well. All the different grays and blacks that are used in this design, they are all listed here. Every blue value, every version of the blue, this light one, no, this other teal and all of them, they are all here. The violets that I use, any purples that I'm going to use, they are all set. Any oranges are all set. But how did I even decide that I'm going to use orange and teal? You guys will learn that as well. It's part of the class. You understand? The concepts of how did we even get all of these things. There are some things called plugins. You guys will learn the right plugins to use. And even you yourself will discover some plugins that you might want to use. You understand? That is what this class is. Today is not for us to, design anything. But today was for us to sign up. But there's something I want to give you guys. There's a video I want you guys to watch. And let me go to YouTube. As much as you are going to be learning in class, because we are going to be doing it 2 days a week, 3 hours every week. Beyond that, we are still going to be doing some other things as well. Watching videos, practice some things on our own, because it's part of your assignment. I will teach you something, but I will expect in your assignment to do something a little bit more than what I taught you. You understand? That is part of it. Let me come in here and yes, Figma Education. I want to give you guys this particular video. Yeah, this is the video from Figma themselves. Let me right click. Hold on. You get the link, copy link, and I'll drop that on the WhatsApp. Yeah, this is it. Our agenda for tomorrow is, what is actually our agenda for tomorrow? Our agenda for tomorrow itself is going to be talking about shapes, frames, and layout grids. Now, layout grid is not the traditional layout grid that some of you guys that have taught before, rather, you guys know. And I'm very sure some of you guys have even explored into auto layout. But I'll show you guys some tricks to set up constraints, maximum width, minimum width, fill gaps, adjustable breakpoints. That's important. I think this will be the last thing I'll say, and then we can round the class up. In interviews, one of the things I've learned is how to answer questions in interviews. And I want you guys to note this. And again, this is not for interviews. This is also for presentations. Whenever you're presenting anything, talking to anybody or any team of people, there's something called the STAR method, S-T-A-R, STAR method. And let me type a box, S-T-A-R, STAR method. This is the way you should answer every single question. S means situation. Let me type it. T means task. A means action. R means results. If they ask you, oh, can you remember a time when somebody didn't like your design? Start with a situation. I'll start with, oh, I recall a time when I was working on the Pay For Me app, when we designed the FX rates calculator. That is where I'm already telling them the situation of when that happened. Oh, it was specifically about FX rates. And then I'll say, oh, I'd look at some inspirations from guys like maybe Flutterwave, Loot, Sparkle, and come up with some ideas. And they wanted us to introduce that in order to improve the number of transactions that people were making. Fine, that's the situation. The task, now I've already mentioned the task in that situation as well. They wanted us to improve the number of transactions that people were making on the platform. I've already done my S&T. The action, I'll not say, oh, the first thing I had to do was when they told me they didn't like the first version, I had to go back and I did some testing with a few users. I came up with 2 versions of it. I tested with some users, maybe 10 people here, 10 people there. And when both people actually told me that version A was better, I went ahead and took some things from version B, that people that like version B said they liked, and I added it to version A. And then when we launched it, we started getting 40% or 50% more payments because it was very easy to use and people understood how it works. And that is your answer at the end. If they ask you as well, what is your typical design process? Now, I'll use exactly the same STAR method as well to answer. Situation, task, action, results. Situation is, and before I even mention situation, I'll first give a disclaimer. Sometimes it's very nice to do that as well. I always tell them my design process pretty much depends on what the task at hand is. But I remember a specific situation when I started designing the Pay For Me app from scratch. And the idea was to launch an MVP of the product where people can pay school fees, add money to their wallets and withdraw their money back and manage their accounts. Background, that is the task. MVP, that's the task. Action, the first action I took was to do some research. We already had some WhatsApp communities that were asking questions from. We also went to banks, we did some research, we collected data, and the action, I did research. I came up with ideas, and then we started designing. And then the results will now be, oh, and I remember after we launched back in second quarter 2021, we had about 70,000 downloads in the first week and about $1 million in transactions. Bam, the end. Every question they ask you, your answers must always be with the STAR method.